Just wanted to take a sip of water on the plane, but suddenly, my fingernails started to turn black. As a doctor, I immediately realized this is a sign of severe hypoxia. Before I could think of a solution, the water bottle in my hand began to twist and deform. The cups on the table began to shake violently. The flight attendants noticed that something was wrong. She quickly sat down, fastened her seatbelt, and urged others to do the same. But it was already too late. The next second, the plane encountered turbulence. The water in the cups began to float in the air, and passengers who hadn't fastened their seatbelts were sucked into the air by the powerful air currents. The pilot realized the danger, quickly putting on an oxygen mask. Cabin depressurized and oxygen masks fell from the ceiling. Everyone hurriedly put on their oxygen masks, but my wife had already lost consciousness due to oxygen deprivation. Meanwhile, a girl was trapped in the bathroom, but the airflow prevented the door from opening. Ultimately, she lost consciousness due to oxygen deprivation. I trembled as I made my way to the crew area. I took a bottle of oxygen from the first aid kit, quickly put it on my wife, and saved her from the brink of death. At that moment, the cabin pressure miraculously stabilized. The captain announced over the intercom, explaining that while the plane was crossing turbulence, the seal had broken, causing abnormal pressure. They had handled it properly, and passengers need not worry. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. The flight attendants noticed the girl who had fainted in the restroom, quickly provided her with emergency oxygen, and she miraculously woke up. Just when we thought everything was over, a middle-aged man suddenly began to have difficulty breathing. The flight attendants called for a doctor. I rushed over, but the middle-aged man's condition continued to deteriorate. He began scratching his throat with his fingers. No one knew what he was doing. Suddenly, blood spurted from his mouth. He began convulsing, like a zombie. Soon, he stopped struggling, until he was placed on the ground. The middle-aged man had stopped breathing. When the captain immediately reported to ground control that a passenger had died on board, the crew moved the body to business class and covered it with a blanket. Shortly after, a young man sneaked into the economy class area. He saw the deceased's gold watch and tried to steal it, but he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he pulled out his phone, took photos of the body, and began mocking it. At that moment, the deceased's head suddenly turned, and the body stood up. The young man screamed in terror, and the flight attendants also noticed something was wrong. A fighter jet appeared outside the window. Back in the cockpit, the signal was growing weaker, and they could no longer contact ground control. Most terrifyingly, when the flight attendants returned to the economy class area, they found the body had vanished without a trace.